elections. Most of you probably watched this. Here on display I have is the official map from 270 to win. And I'll actually cut the camera so you can see the rest of the states there. That this is actually the current electoral votes that are in place. Trump has 286. Harris has only 226. Of course, the big drama that happened was in the state of Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Wisconsin. During the last election, for those few who didn't remember, the election was actually stolen. What they did was Trump won those states, but then they came in late at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, stuffed the ballot, rigged the Dominion voting machines, and suddenly Biden was elected by winning those states. I mean, that didn't happen this time, in large part because of folks like James O'Keefe and other conservatives in those polling areas, as well as a lot of lawyers who were waiting in standby to make sure that there wasn't any ballot stuffing, at least in those areas. Now, there is one area that we're still waiting on. If you could see here, it's Arizona. Now, it's only 11 electoral votes, so there's no way it can elect Kamala Harris, but there is a big race there, and that is for U.S. Senate. It is for Kari Lake. And Kari Lake's been fighting against the establishment for years, and it's pretty obvious that there was an attempt by the former Arizona GOP chair to actually bribe her from running for U.S. Senate that Kari Lake recorded and posted, and to remind people, to show just how corrupt not just the Democrats, but what we call the uniparty, or sometimes called RINOs, within the Republican leadership are in regards to elections. And that's a large reason as to why I think that Trump won this and why Republicans won. We've also retained the United States Congress, the House of Representatives, and we appear to have currently won the United States Senate. And it's a large part because we reformed the Republican Party of Arkansas. I'm sorry, the National Republican Party. We kicked out specifically Ronna McDaniel. We kicked out around 60 or so folks that had worked for her. A lot of the establishment types were sent packing, kind of similar to what Elon Musk did when he took over Twitter. He fired a lot of the folks that really didn't need to be there. And it was a good thing that, and what we have found is oftentimes when you make these kind of reforms, things end up being a lot better for an organization. A lot of people forget that this was, in a way, when we were fighting for the American Revolution, George Washington had to do the same thing. He had to fire a lot of generals that were, at the very least, incompetent and more likely on the take in regards to working for Britain. So when we reformed the Republican Party on a national level, and with organizations like Turning Point USA, O'Keefe Media Group, and others, we got conservatives and we were able to prevent the fraud. And I've seen on Twitter, when you prevent the fraud, the conservative side does a lot better and oftentimes wins because of that. So, of course, I was able to record Trump's victory speech that happened. I'm going to play a little bit of it now just for y'all's enjoyment. And he came up and gave a wonderful speech. This was done by the Charlie Kirk show that was doing a live coverage of the election. Oh, and this map, by the way, if you want to see it, is on the website 270towin.com. It's an interactive map, and it's constantly being updated. And I'll put the link for it here in the chat. So you all can click on that and research it for yourselves. Let me play a little bit of Donald Trump's victory speech from last night.
So it looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady.
Hey, Zenhel. Welcome to Podbean.
The #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? No, she has done a great job. Works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous. And we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp. And you know, the enemy camp is certain networks. And a lot of people don't like to, sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay. Which one? CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks like, he's like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it. And then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words here.
Wild. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was, I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest country in the world by far. And right now we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden, we call her the Ice Maiden. Say something? Come here, Chris, come here, Chris.
Okay, folks, so that was Donald Trump thanking a lot of his supporters. Of course, here in Arkansas, and for those who may not know, for those who want to see this, go to the YouTube account, Keep Arkansas Legal, to see this video that I recorded via screenshot from the Charlie Kirk show that did a live coverage of the election. They did an excellent job, by the way. They were way ahead of the establishment media. And of course, ahead of the pollster and consulting class that sabotaged the election the last time and the one in 2022. That's why I titled this Trump Defeats Democrats and RINOs, because that's really who he was fighting against. Just as I said before, just like the American Revolution, George Washington had to fire a whole bunch of generals because they were selling us out to England or, at the very least, incompetent. And sadly, I wish I could say that that kind of reform is happening across the nation, but it's not. There are a lot of establishment types that still have a stranglehold on GOP county committees and state legislators, and sadly, Arkansas is one of them. I've played before video of the efforts by the RINO establishment regarding our state convention, where they actually put at risk some of Trump's electoral votes here from Arkansas. If you go back to the map, we give him 6 electoral votes. It wouldn't at this point be enough to stop Donald Trump. He would still have enough to win the election, but it was at the time, we didn't know that. Nobody could know what would have happened. A few states here, a few stuffed ballots there, and it could have made a difference. But what they were doing is trying to keep primaries open so that Democrats can sneak in to Republican primaries and sabotage those elections. If you follow my channel, you've kept up with that fight for years. I want to show this because it's from Newsmax, and they did a pretty good job of reporting what's going on. But there's several stories here I want to see. This one senator saying to Newsmax, Republicans are obligated to do big things. One of the reasons why, and Rush Limbaugh has talked about this before, that Republicans oftentimes let Democrats win is they don't want to actually do anything that's conservative, that includes any risk. They only want to vote for pro-life or pro-gun issues when it basically doesn't matter. They don't want to, deal with the budget. They just want to pass a continuing resolution so they can get, their wife work for some Chinese freighter company like Mitch McConnell. They want their, like Liz Cheney, like the Cheneys. They want, another proxy war or, police action war that lasts for decades so they can get, Halliburton weapons contracts. And sadly, there's a lot of Republicans elected and within the leadership apparatus that feel the same way. And they'll go off and say some conservative things, but when it comes to actually, winning the election, they're nowhere to be found. Now, they're a lot less vocal than the liberals. Liberals will often be very vocal, and when they lose, they'll definitely let you know about it. But the good news is we're more people are starting to wake up. More people are starting to realize what really needs to be done. You need to clean house. We need to, find and fire the consultant types and just kick them out. Now, in Arkansas, as I mentioned before, we have done that in several counties. Pulaski County, for instance, up in northeast Arkansas, Craighead County, they've done an excellent job. Also around that area, Independence County, and I'm going to look for this. I should have brought this up earlier. I didn't title this, but they have done so well in terms of reform. Not only are they electing conservatives, but they did something really amazing despite the odds. They actually put on the ballot and voted in to get rid of the ES&S voting machines that we know have been used to sabotage elections, and they've replaced them. So I'm actually playing. I'm going to share this tab and play this. This is from Colonel Conrad Reynolds, who has been fighting for election reform across the nation. We tried to get this on several county. Well, first we tried to do this on a statewide level, the group Arkansas Veteran Integrity Initiative, and we weren't able to, but we did manage to get onto the ballot in Independence County the chance to leave the voting machines and go to paper ballots. And, this is a tough call because ES&S, like many of these, public-private partnership organizations, have a lot of influence. They own, they have working for them the Arkansas Association of Counties, which is this undemocratic, godless, anti-freedom globalist organization that has already sabotaged several conservative efforts and did a lot of things to try to sabotage paper ballots. And sadly, Arkansas has been dead last for decades because we were under Democrat control for 150 years. But we've had Republican supermajorities for at least 3 sessions now. But why can't we get real reform? Is because groups like that are still in existence. So I'm going to play this video with Mike Lindell, who made this brief announcement. I'm also sharing this on Twitter. After this, I'm going to share a little bit what happened in Pulaski County. But do like and share this. Of course, this will become a video. But let me play this here real quick.
Independence County, some county in Arkansas, they voted in to get rid of the machines. It's the first county in that voted in. Yeah. So that's kind of historical. It was a 62 to 38% vote against the machines.
Wow.
So I know that's any breakthrough, but that's one of so that's breaking news. I broke that on your show there, Neil. Wait, this is wild.
That's incredible.
Right outside here, I'll turn here and see if you guys can see Mar-a-Lago here.
Right.
Oh, Mike's bringing us in there, man. We're there.
I was about to ask. I was kind of wondering where he was because he's leaning against a wall. So yeah, he was there at Mar-a-Lago, and he certainly did his part and fighting for freedom. Thank you, Mike Lindell, for all that you've done. That's the My Pillow guy, for those who are wondering. You did an excellent job. And he's right. It's been a huge problem in regards to the fight for freedom. Just responding to a message here. Some people are talking about the rally, different rallies that went on. And here's another post. This is the actual vote tally. So it was a huge margin. That's not quite 2 to 1. It's at least 60-40%. So that's a mandate that these people in this county, they don't just want paper ballots, they really want paper ballots. think this may be another, but this has a percentage. Oh, this was earlier. This was a percentage. But it should be close around there. Somebody can do the math if you want to. What's the percentage of this? 8,300 to 5,184. And again, paper ballots are much more secure. Yes, you can sabotage and steal any election. However, in order to do that with paper ballot, hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots, you have to be at the location. It's just a nice post. Actually, I think I'll go ahead and play this too. Why?
I will make it my life's mission, my dying wish, that none of you weirdos can hide in the future. You can't lie to your kids. You can't lie to your grandkids about, oh, it was so confusing. It was hard to see the truth. He was so convincing. I will not let you get away with that. Like, that was not normal. This is not normal. I will make it clear to everyone. Like, I will make sure no one is confused about how things were right now in this very vital, crucial time in American history, that it was not confusing. It was not confusing at all. You just stood for that. You stood with that and for that. Like, I can't emphasize enough.
Stop. Like, yeah, that was the liberals are having massive meltdowns now. I probably can't play most of them because, well, it's probably a lot of bad language, as you can imagine. Also, I wanted to go and share this. I got this email earlier. Lots of stuff, of course, with the election last night. This is from Family Council. They're the conservative group here in Arkansas. They focus a lot on the pro-life bills. There was an attempt to put murder of the unborn onto the ballot in Arkansas. The people who gathered the signatures for that failed to properly adhere to the rules regarding affidavits, and so they did not get enough votes. They didn't get enough, so their paid canvasser signatures had to be thrown out. And thanks to the efforts of concerned activists like myself, my wife, the lovely Rebecca, and others, we made sure that they didn't get enough signatures with volunteer canvassers, despite being defunded and having no support from the ballot initiative group Stronger Arkansas, which was supposed to be a counter to the pro-abortion group Arkansas for Limited Government. Both sides raised well over $350,000, but while Arkansas for Limited Government paid their ground game, the corrupt, cowardly consultant Chris Caldwell took the money that was from Stronger Arkansas and gave it to groups like Axiom. I've made a video on that as well. But anyway, this fight regarding abortion was around the nation, as Trump did, thanks to his efforts in the courts. It was transferred to the states. Let me I'll put a link to Family Council. I think they should have this on their website. But I don't have to read, I won't read the whole thing here. 3 states abortion amendments were defeated: Nebraska, South Dakota, and Florida. But it was done in Missouri and Arizona, and I don't know what those abortion measures were. And did it go to all the way to 9 months? Did it just, is it first, second trimester? Does it open up clinics? I don't know the details of each of those. But again, abortion is just simply the murder of the unborn. It's not a woman's right to choose. In most cases, it's denying a woman a first choice. This is a choice to be born. And almost all the time, it's just mainly for convenience and financial reasons. But we managed to fight off and defeat most of this here in Arkansas, thanks again to conservatives and groups like Family Council. Great organization. I'm going to post a link to them so y'all can see what that group does on a regular basis. They're going to be very busy in the upcoming legislature. Arkansas legislature is coming up. And just because we ban abortion here doesn't mean that there aren't, like pro-abortion organizations that are probably still getting taxpayer funds that we probably don't know about. We know that a lot in the medical industry are vehemently pro-abortion. We know that, of course, they're definitely pro-LGBTQ and the mutilation of children. Sadly, there's organizations here in our medical industry that don't leave the kids alone. And they had a lot of influence thanks to former Governor Asa Hutchinson and the Arkansas Chamber of Commerce. The mutilation of children is still taking place here in this very red state. It's a sad, unfortunate thing. And we still have a lot of work to do in Arkansas regarding kicking the Democrats out. This is for Pulaski County, Arkansas. It's the county here central. It's, of course, our state capital is here. And we have a lot of colleges. And so because of that, we have a lot of leftists. I'm going to go through here, give a little bit of detail regarding Pulaski County. And these county races can be oftentimes just as important, if not more so, because these county people decide so many things. Matter of fact, this county pushed a mask mandate even when the state of Arkansas ended theirs. And of course, there's tax increases that are done in counties. They're in charge of millions of dollars. Scott County, and it's kind of the opposite, pushed for a rule that says that local police will not cooperate with the federal government. So if they decide to, so if ATF decides they want to come in and murder Brian Malinowski, or the EPA or somebody want to murder Peanut the squirrel, who I've posted his image here just to remind people, this incident was a heavy influencer in what happened in the elections. Peanut the squirrel was murdered by the state of New York, supposedly for being either illegally held or possible rabies. They never were clear on that. But yeah, agents stormed a guy's house, held him at gunpoint for 5 hours. Him and his wife were detained while they found Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon, and then they eventually kidnapped them, illegally seized them, and then euthanized and murdered them. And if you type in Peanut the squirrel, you'll see all kinds of stories about that. Why does that matter? Well, for one thing, it's horrible when somebody's pet's murdered, but more importantly, armed government officials coming in to storm somebody's house can lead to bad things, as mentioned before by Malinowski. And if folks will remember, a long time ago in Ruby Ridge, the start of the gunfight regarding that was when the FBI murdered the kid's dog, and the kid shot back at the FBI. So there it is. Peanut the squirrel has been somewhat avenged. There's still a lot of work to do because Trump has to get into office, and then these officials, these government officials that did this horrible act, and others need to be hunted down and fired and fined. And in a just world, they'd be jailed. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we can wait and see. We know it never would have happened under Kamala. Under Kamala, they'd be storming people's houses all the time. But there's the story of Peanut the squirrel. I'll post the Twitter link there so you guys can catch up on that story if you're not familiar with what happened with that issue. So anyway, let's go back to Pulaski County, because again, this county officials, and these county officials can sometimes do the same thing. Okay, let me get Peanut off of there. Studio media. Okay, Peanut's off of there. Pulaski County. First vote is for president and vice president. Thank goodness Pulaski County did not decide the nation, because they voted overwhelmingly for Kamala Harris. 60% for Kamala Harris. That is a very blue state. And I know Robert F. Kennedy was on the ballot as well. He managed to get his name off in several battleground states, which is very good. I don't know, it may not have made the difference there, but there's 1,000 votes. But even if you were to add all the all the other votes, it doesn't even come close. Kamala would have easily won the nation had Pulaski County decided. There are a lot of leftists here. I did notice that Robert F. Kennedy did far better than the Libertarian Chase Oliver. It's kind of a sad story with the libertarians in this area as well. That's the Green Party, Jill Stein. I don't know if she cost the Kamala a race in some other places. Hopefully, probably not. We know that one of the issues in Florida 2000, a long time ago, was that with the hanging chads, they accidentally, supposedly voted for the wrong candidate. And they used that as an excuse, by the way, to get rid of all mechanical machines, even though the chad punching machine in Florida was about the only one that did mess up. And now we're stuck with, right now for most places, ES&S. Anyway, U.S. Congress, District 1. District 1 used to not be in Pulaski County, but after some redistricting, some parts of it were put in there. So for the area that's in District 1, had they been in charge, Democrat Rodney Givens would have beaten Rick Crawford. It looks like almost 2-1. Well, no, it's 60%, 30%. Yeah, it is. That's almost 2-1. Fortunately, there's conservatives in Arkansas District 1 covers a lot of other conservative areas. So Rick Crawford was reelected. Here is French Hill. Now, Pulaski County is one of his counties. So all of Pulaski County, every part of Pulaski County is within the 2nd district. That makes sense. Marcus Jones would have defeated French Hill had Pulaski County decided. Fortunately, there were other conservatives in the 2nd district in other counties, and they made sure that French Hill was reelected. That's so that race went. I said, could have been a lot worse, but fortunately, we came in and won. And then part of the 4th district of Arkansas Congress is here, and as you can see, that section here, a lot of leftists would have overwhelmingly elected this Reese Howard over Congressman Bruce Westerman. Fortunately, again, other counties are in the 4th district that are a lot more conservative, and they were able to make sure that Bruce Westerman was reelected. We did have a race for state treasurer. Typically, those races are done in off years. The constitutional races are done when it's not a presidential race. So it'd be 2026 when there's another election for governor, lieutenant governor, and all these other ones. But the state treasurer, Mark Lowry, sadly passed away. And so they had a special election for him. Republican John Thurston would have lost Pulaski County. However, he was in the rest of the state. As went Trump, so went the Republicans. So thanks to that, Republican John Thurston won. There was an attempt to have Libertarian Michael Packo, who actually is a real economist and probably is the one of the most qualified people to be treasurer, but the Libertarian vote just wasn't in it for him for the state, and so he didn't get it. And then here are some state races. This one was, a lot of these are uncontested, but it just shows it there. So people did that. So if it's so you'll see no other, and some of these state districts will be in Pulaski County and some will be out. So if you see like a real disparity in votes, that's part of the reason why. Now here's a contested race right here, Mark Johnson versus Maureen Skinner. Mark Johnson, I don't know if all of his area is in Pulaski County, but at least here in that section, he defeated Maureen Skinner. And from what I understand, because I've looked at other things, he did win. So he won re-election. So the Democrats were not able to take that seat. There was an attempt for State District 66, Representative Wayne Ball, and then I'm sorry, this says Republican, not representative. I'm misunderstood. Mark Johnson's a representative, but he's I'm sorry, he's a state senator. But anyway, looks like Democrat State Representative Mark Perry appeared to have won this section. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this section, there may be another section of District 66 that may not have Pulaski County, so it's possible he may have won. I don't know. Carolyn Brown, as I understand, her entire district is within Pulaski County, and she narrowly won against this Democrat. So this was a close race. And again, Pulaski County is a very liberal place, but Carolyn Brown campaigned really hard, as she has done in past, and she managed to win that race. This was an interesting race because if you remember this guy right here, when there was an assassination attempt on Trump, this Kawami guy tried to claim that it was staged. And he really looked dumb in the process. He claims that there was a threat on his life when he was campaigning by someone whose house he knocked on. But this guy, as a matter of fact, he got a viral part for a little bit of way. In terms of his joking, this was right after the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, not the other one in Florida. And we have to pray to God that there's not any more attempts, or that if there are, that they're quickly squashed. Let me see if I could find that post, because I talked a little bit about it earlier. It was not long after the assassination. And like I said, he went viral because of this. But yeah, he tried to claim that he tried to hint that the whole thing was staged. It turns out it wasn't, just as you know. And he's kind of a leftist overall. But he was soundly defeated. He was beaten rather handily, and I know this area is in Maumelle. Kwame Abdul-Ray, I don't know what else he's going to do. But anyway, let me go back to this area. And then this was a very important race right here. Carlton Wing, in the last election, he only won by a few hundred votes. And it looks like it's about the same here. Again, this area I know is the North Little Rock area in Pulaski County. Very liberal section of the state. But Carlton Wing managed to beat the Democrat here in this race. Hopefully they won't do any late night ballot stuffing. That was done regarding Jim Servillo, and there was an attempt to steal this election last time. So if that happens, I'll let folks know. This is another race. Republican win. Tracy Steele, nobody ran against him. Uncontested. Here, this is a race here. This was a Democrat versus a Libertarian. Of course, the Libertarian is usually horribly outspent. I'm not sure, again, if this entire district is in Pulaski County, but it appears that Ashley Hudson defeated this person. Michael White, who really had a big issue and had been fighting for a long time. He had a lot of vandalism of his signs, like a lot. And I actually detailed some of this earlier. Michael White, who was a guest on the KRN News radio show. Here he is on Twitter. Now he's given some updates. This was his press release when he first entered. So he did have some. It did seem odd right here regarding it. But do follow him. I think he's going to try to do some other things. I don't know. He may run as a Republican. He may run another office, Justice of the Peace, something else. But he worked really hard on this, and he did go up against the Democrat machine and a Democrat stronghold. Uncontested. Now here's a Republican defeating a Democrat. I don't know the makeout of the entire legislature, but most likely the legislature is probably going to be even more. Typically, Democrats have lost every election. They have lost more power ever since then. Jesper Jesperson just posted a YouTube link on my chat. Let me check that out while I still report on Pulaski County, but let me do that while numb just to be sure. It looks like some kind of ad for something else. It's playing here. Let me play through that while I go through back. And then yes, my buddy of mine, Walter Stormer, he ran for constable for Big Rock Township, and this does encompass all of Little Rock. It looks like that instead the people voted for Libertarian Frank Gilbert. Well, the percentages seem to be a bit low. There's a lot of undervotes, but there is, well, it looks like there is enough, possibly enough undervotes to tip that. So I don't know what went on with that. And then here, constable, again, Republican constable Chris Powell versus Democrat Albert Wells, but there's a lot of undervotes, and that's also enough to tip that race. Honestly, I don't know what all that means. Here, Justice of the Peace Rebecca Davis defeated Deanna Thomas. This has been a hard-working conservative here. There was an attempt to try to unseat, it looks like, Justice of the Peace Cassie Lewison. Again, this is a Democrat stronghold. It doesn't look like that happened. Jackie Kaufman was not able to defeat Justice of the Peace Julie Blackwood. Again, very difficult to do when you're fighting against an incumbent. I covered an event that Jackie Kaufman did, hoping that hopefully we'll get some more funding in the Pulaski County and we can fight for some of these seats here later on. And then there's some other races, city council positions that you can look at on the Pulaski County website. It's a PDF file. I think it can be adjusted if depending on certain items. I'm going to scroll through here because there is one other race that I talked about before. I just got to find it right quick. There was a millage tax in Little Rock School District. It looks like it barely passed. There was one in North Little Rock that failed. There was one in Pulaski County Special School District that also failed. There's a Supreme Court. Now here, Karen Baker defeats Rhonda Wood, but only by a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I messed up. I didn't share this. I'm going to share. Let me share the link to this. So if y'all see this, you can look at it later. But here's the link that I'm talking about. So do look over this because this, again, these county elections can have a much greater effect on you in some cases than what the president does. Again, they decide a lot of things. Casey Tucker, I believe this is all within Pulaski County, narrowly defeats Molly McNutty. All this really means is that I don't know the political makeup of either of these people, but apparently Sarah Huckabee Sanders will be able to appoint someone else to the Supreme Court. Issue 1, as I talked about before, these issues where they gathered signatures to put on the ballot, overwhelmingly won in Pulaski County. That's the one that allows for this lottery money to be given to folks that are going to go get a vocational scholarship, like to become a blue-collar worker, like welder or electrician, that sort of thing. I don't know why it was denied before because of the stupid issue regarding the lottery and the academic system, but it looks like that issue passed. Issue 2 was a repeal requiring the casino system to have to get approval from the county in order to get a casino license, open a casino. This was mainly regarding Polk County. Polk County was vehemently against the casino. It was more or less forced on them. Yes, there were some outside organizations that funded for and against issue 2. The big issue is those against issue 2 were actually bankrolled by one tribe in Oklahoma and pretended not to be. They were fake Arkansans, and they hired Christina Munoz and a bunch of other actors, and they paid off the leadership within Polk County, who probably are hopefully going to get voted out soon. But they pretended that they were all, Arkansas this and Arkansas that. They mentioned Arkansas a gazillion times, and they were out-of-state folks. Yeah, they were lying to people about who they really were. And then question 1, City of Little Rock. This is the Little Rock sales tax that Frank Scott Jr. tried to push. Very similar to the one he tried to push in September of, I think, 2022. I campaigned against that tax increase. I was actually kicked out of a polling location by a corrupt election judge during that time. Americans for Prosperity, a lot of other organizations joined together to fight against that. There was a ballot question committee that was created to fight against this tax increase. I mentioned it at the Pulaski County Republican Committee meeting. And thanks to our efforts and a lot of other factors, that tax increase was soundly defeated. It was in 2 questions. It was defeated 55% for question 1. And then question 2 is even more. 58% people rejected that. And remember, this is a Democrat stronghold. This is a Little Rock in the middle of, this is a blue city within a blue county, and it was soundly rejected. So there's a lot of other elections there. You can look at that at your leisure. Look at other items. General Leesma Liberty, thanks for the comment. They sent me a ton of mailers. Yes, they did. They sent that all over. They campaigned hard. There was a lot of money spent on that, but in the end, I think what people realize with issue 2 is that even though casinos bring in money, they bring in crime. And when you look at the stats of these places, when you go to look at Tunica, Mississippi, or I think it's Tupelo, I think there's a town called Enid, Oklahoma. When you look at these places and you look at how they look, you can just tell the casino just isn't helping the place out. And Pine Bluff, Jefferson County, where they already have an established casino, and it's gotten worse. It hadn't gotten better. And point of fact, they actually had several tax increase elections. I think I had one in the last 2022, which, shouldn't be happening if the casino is going to bring in all these jobs and all this money. So General Leesma Liberty from YouTube, thanks for that comment. And Jasper Jerrison, I'm not sure what it is your ad is doing. It looks like topics and how to use Rezovonia.com. I'm not sure what Rezovonia is. I'll check it out. But if it looks like something useful, I may talk about it. Oh, it looks like I put on a Twitter account regarding Peanut the Squirrel, and for some reason it went to private. So let me repost that so all of y'all can see there. He was a big motivation in what happened, whether you like it or not. But folks, overall, it was a good day. I am hoping that for Carrie Lake to win in Arizona. She worked really hard. She's worked really hard for years in the fighting for conservative issues. As mentioned before, she was bribed by the powers that be. And you can watch other places to get information on this. Here's an example. Here's the called America Rejects Hollywood. Now, these people talk more about the cultural issue.
And EFAP, who I found you through, help so much with the workday. Also, hail the Rippaverse. Hail the Rippaverse, man. They're cranking stuff out. Bloodruth is coming out. Bloodruth is out.
So there's this called Neurotic. He mainly focuses on the cultural aspect, but the cultural aspect was huge. Hollywood sent a lot of people to try to do endorsements. It probably helped in the 2020 election. I think what's happened this time is people rejected Hollywood in general. They rejected a lot of their movies are going down. A lot of people are just sick of their attitude. They threatened to leave the last time when Trump was elected. Now a lot of people are hoping they did, and more and more people, and it affects people. And there's some people like, hey, I like your movies, but I'm sick of your politics. General Leesma Liberty on YouTube says we also have a brand new libertarian constable in Big Rock Township. I mentioned that before. Walter Stormer's a great guy. He was the Republican running that race. It's glad that doesn't go to a liberal. And I did notice there was a lot of undervotes. If I were there, I certainly would have voted for Walter. He's a great guy. If it's the Frank Gilbert I'm thinking of, he's a great guy as well. It's good that libertarians are running. As I mentioned before, I hope that Michael White does a great job. I hope he runs again, and he should do a great job when he does so. But folks, I'm going to have to end this right now. I got a lot of things to deal with in my life. Do follow me at Just the Right Angle. If you like what you see here, want to see more videos like this, as you can see, here is my YouTube channel. I actually just uploaded the Trump speech onto Rumble. I prefer people go to Rumble because I actually do get a little bit of money based upon the ads in Rumble. Here's the tab for that. Rumble helps me with, gets a little bit of money, and I'll also go ahead and post this. Ways to fund more video projects. You can click on these links. It's General needs my liberty. He's a good egg. But yeah, this is a way to help fund more video projects. You can click on the advertisements on Rumble. I do Cash App, Ko-fi, Fundly, subscribe, share this with other people, regardless of wherever they are. Fundly allows you to become a monthly supporter. I do also have an Amazon link. I also do PayPal. My Rumble account is, of course, Just the Right Angle. Also on Podbean, same thing. That's Podbean. You can listen to the audio of this. I'll edit the audio and have an edited version of this via Ocean. I left out the part where Trump plays because sometimes the audio doesn't go too well from videos. Visit the other organizations that I mentioned before. One other organization I mentioned is Conduit News. They do a great job. Arkansas Voter Integrity Initiative, another great organization. Here, I'm going to put some of their links as well, so you can follow them in your own spare time. Follow these groups to keep up with what's going on. Regular establishment media has failed you. They are constantly failing. The state and this nation, as I mentioned before, when the Republican leadership illegally tried to ignore the state convention, Arkansas Democrat Gazette, and of course Samantha Boyd on the television went and claimed the primaries are closed. Legally, they are not. I'm sorry. Legally, they said they was open. Legally, they are not. Legally, primaries are actually closed. But overall, it was a good day. And I think it was a good day yesterday. Carried over into today. Here's my little vote, my little part here. And you can see here's another show. Here's another broadcast you can look at.
Is that actually true, or is this some sort of hyperbole?
Oh, it looks fake. Damn it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean,
That'd be
but
funny.
the thing is, the fact that we have to ponder it, it makes it sound believable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. These people analyzing the elections or analyzing all kinds of other aspects of it. Check them out as well. They do have some of them do have use different language. Oh, breaking news. General Elizabeth Harris conceded to Trump in a phone call. Will announce it tonight at 6 o'clock. Is that Eastern or Central? Probably Eastern. Let me type in Kamala concession speech here and see if I can find it. I will not be able to be on that. I'll actually be working, doing another job. A lot of people are joking. Kamala better start that concession speech as I grew up in a middle class neighborhood. Join me at 4 p.m. Eastern to watch Kamala's concession speech, review election results, and enjoy some liberal tears. it's 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central. Ooh, I may be doing something. I may be busy at the time, but I'll try and see if I can maybe do some live streaming comment on that. Not sure yet. But anyway, so that's breaking news. Thank you again, General Leesmo Liberty. Folks, if you have any other comments, even when this becomes a video, feel free to add them. If you know of any other races that are going on, especially if it's an update on Kerry Lake or even these small contested races, if they're trying to steal it from Carlton Wing or something else. I know that in Jonesboro, Crackhead County, they defeated 2 tax increases. If you know of any other great news or any other bad news or like news upbreaks, send it to me. KeepArkansasLegal@yahoo.com. You can see my card there. You can even text it to me. But overall, again, great day. Find a way to get involved. Take a little bit of a nap. Pretty soon things are going to come up. There's going to be a meeting of the Republican Party of Arkansas, which could be sabotaged by the anti-Trump elitists or Arkansas legislatures coming up. There's going to be the Electoral College vote. I'm going to try to go and film that. Last time I did that, there was a lot of drama in there. It's on my YouTube account, Keep Arkansas Legal. Thank God. Praise God. Continue to build a relationship with God. This is only a partial fix to this nation. Need a lot more reforms done. Never forget his involvement in all things. But find a way to get involved. And that's it. We'll have a great day.